Live studio audience. How are you?
Hi. Okay. Hello, friends, and welcome back to Gathered Glow. I'm the founder and friend, Jackie Price, and tonight's conversation is one that I truly have been looking forward to. You all may know him as a creative, an entrepreneur, a brand guru, a father, and a friend to so many. I have the pleasure and the honor of having, drumroll, Tony Sousa on with us today. Hello.
I'm super thankful to be here. Thanks for having me.
I am thrilled that you're here.
You say that to all your guests. No, thank you.
Well, true.
That is true.
But genuinely,
I'm a podcast host, so I know you have to say that. But we've been friends for a long time, and I know you're being sweet, and I do sense that you are excited to have me. So
I want to dive into your story because I mean, to know you is one, to just love you, I think, right off the bat, because you are so authentic, so genuine. But the dimensions of your career and just you as an individual is endless and so fascinating.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting being the human that you just described, right? Because you've also lived that life as that person, and you didn't think they were dynamic at the time, and frankly most of the adventures that you went through in your career and in your life you thought was hard and difficult, and you didn't understand what the point of this is. Why is this happening now? And obviously later you find out, oh, that's why that happened, so that this can happen, and that I can get better at this, and then I can get great at that, right? So yeah, thanks for saying that. I mean, I think if I have any skill set, it's positivity and resilience.
Okay.
And I'm just, those who know me and those who love me know that I am endlessly optimistic about life and adversity and things that happen. That there's always a way out and around. And I also. We were just talking your background with a Jamaican mother. I have a Portuguese father, Italian mother, right? Like we're relentless. Like our work ethic is second to none. And a lot of people, I think a lot of people don't realize that when they see people maybe that have charisma or a look, right? Like you or maybe me, and they're like, oh, they're just charming. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe, but I work really hard,
Yeah, this charm didn't come from nowhere, right? It's usually built from sometimes some grit. Like finding, like you said, the humor in adversity or in hard work, it gives you a different perspective.
Yeah, I like working hard. It makes me feel fulfilled. It makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something. It's probably something that I saw, from my family. It's ingrained in me, and I think there's probably just family members, and you may be able to relate that are on your shoulder, that like if you sell it short, right, or you don't put in the full hours, or sell a client short, or whatever the case is, like you don't get away with that, right? Like in life, like somebody, if not like the man upstairs, right, is like somebody's watching, so you're not like cutting anybody short, and if anything, you're selling yourself short.
I totally agree. I think it took me a while to separate my identity with hard work.
Separate it?
Separate it. For me, I think because of my upbringing, there was kind of this voice of like, you have to work 3 times harder. And I know.
Because you're expected, or that's who we are?
I think for some of the same opportunities, for maybe my efforts to be acknowledged in the same way.
You felt that way?
I felt that way, but I think culturally there are many others that might feel that way too, especially women, especially going into corporate, especially women of color. I think that there was a tendency, and maybe, I don't know how much of it is rooted in the truth, how much of it was just kind of life experience, where it was like, you need to work even harder, like above and beyond for everything. And so only in recent years do I feel like I have a better relationship with work and hard work. And I'm like, I no longer want hustle or grit.
I was going to say a better relationship with that hustle culture.
Yeah.
No, I admire that. Obviously, I'm not a woman nor a woman of color, right? So I can't relate.
If you're listening in and you can't see it, that is obvious.
Yeah. So if you couldn't tell through my voice, I'm neither. But so I can't speak to that, but I understand, like, listen, like, I also, real or perceived, I create, those who know me know this, that I do create, I create obstacles, or I do create chips on my shoulder that help me. It is funny. The people that do know me, they're like, that people don't think that of you. And I'm like, yeah, they think I can't do it, but I'm going to show them I'm going to do it. Yeah. And they're like, no, everyone thinks you could do it. I was like, no, they don't. And it's just something, I don't know what reality is, right? But my reality is there's a segment of people out there that are doubting me, right? Or that don't think that I can. Yeah. And for me, it's a bit of fuel, right? For me to prove to them, to me, to a watching community that I can achieve certain things. And I don't know if that's healthy by any means, but it's definitely, I describe it as sort of a Mamba mentality of sorts, right? It's like, you don't think I could do this, I could win championships, I could achieve these things. Well, you know what? I'm going to go out and work extra hard. I'm going to outwork you, and then I'm going to go ahead and prove everybody wrong and prove myself right. So that's not advice for anyone at home that is listening to this, that you should take that mentality, because it can kind of mess with your head a little bit. Yeah. That
because I had that mentality for years. It was so deeply rooted, and I think because I had it for years, it's still there. So you saying that Mamba mentality, I'm like, I get it. It's like, if I'm going to do something, I want to be the best of the best.
Yeah, but it's a trip now for me, right? Because I've reached some success, and I have wonderful people around me, and you're very sweet, right? Like everyone's rooting for you, I think. And I'm like, yeah, but how do you succeed in an environment where everyone is like, you got this, and you're like, and I do think, it's a 90-10 rule that I say, is that 90% of people are rooting for you. There's the 10% that you'll never win over. Now, you could use them as fuel, which I think maybe we do. But sometimes, if you focus on them too much, you can lose sight of the 90% that I say all the time. Like, my shift in my life that really helped me grow in confidence was a shift and take a look at the 90% of the army of people that support you. And then I had to step back and recognize, like, why am I focusing on this 10% and trying to win them over when you can never win them over? So that's a big rule for me, is to continue to focus on the 90% and sleep well, knowing 10% just won't like you. I'm good with it. There's 10% of people I don't like either. So, so it's cool. Like, just personalities are different, and it's okay. 100% of people won't like you.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like even those people that might not gravitate towards you, the feedback that they can still give could be a gift. I feel like even if you don't like me, you're still talking, you're still chattering.
No doubt.
You're still feeding.
Well, I think we're similar in that way. Like, I will take feedback. I will take feedback and truly listen to feedback from almost anyone, because I truly believe that in any feedback, if it's rooted and not just trying to completely tear me down, and some of it, like, people's feedback will just try to take you down because they're down themselves. But most feedback, there's a pearl of wisdom in there somewhere. You just have to go find it. Now, with some people that are incredibly wise and experienced and kind-hearted and trying to help you, man, there's tons of wisdom in there. But in all feedback, I think there's pearls of wisdom that sometimes are a little harder to find than others, but there's always something in there that you should consider.
I feel like the saying feedback is a gift is said a lot, and it can be such a beautiful gift. Sometimes people wrap it up, and I'm like, you could have wrapped that better. That gift could have been delivered better. And I think a lot of times people have a hard time receiving feedback.
No doubt.
Because of how someone presents it, rather than like the gem inside of it, like you're saying.
Sure, yeah. I mean, we're all human, right? So we have a defensive mechanism to say, like, you're coming at me hot, right? Like, so I'm going to come back at you hot, or whatever the case is. You're trying to protect yourself, right?
Or confusing, where you're like, did you compliment me? Did you give me?
Well, it's the sort of bullshit, like, that sandwich metaphor, right? Yeah. Like, I'm going to be positive and give you some feedback and then be positive again. I used to really buy into that. I've come to realize, like, listen, like, you should always be positive and constructive for the people you're working alongside with. And when you need to be able to, like, give that middle of the sandwich stuff, just level with them. Like, most people are willing to take it. As long as you've been supportive along the way and not just being a dick the whole time and then give them extra dick feedback, like, no, like that's not going to go over well. But if you've been cool most of the way and like always supportive and fair and like give them their flowers when they're due, then yeah, at the time when you need to give some feedback, just give it to them straight. They're okay with it. I think for the most part it is. As long as they know you're caring and you're loving and you're trying to help them, like feedback is awesome, especially direct feedback.
I could get on a soapbox and talk about feedback. You know, my background in like learning and development, coaching. Yeah. I really, this could
probably
be like
could go on and on about this.
On and on. And that might be an episode because I have a lot to say about how feedback is given. I mean, I appreciate it. I think it is so constructive, but it can do some harm if it is not done with care.
I don't know if people still use this term, just like, you know, I don't think the coaching from certain divisions, you know, it kind of like pussyfoots around like giving people honest feedback. And I used to do that. And I later realized my employees and people I work with were like, why didn't you say that from the jump, bro? And I was like, well, I didn't, you know, I was mindful. I didn't want to demoralize you or hurt your feelings. They're like, no, dude, like you should have just said that from the jump. That's what you want, because I would have been able to give that to you. And for whatever reason, it's like either I thought they couldn't handle it, but the reality was I think maybe it was me that couldn't handle some of that, right? Or didn't know how to articulate it.
Yeah. Whoa, that's deep.
Yeah. So it usually always stems from your insecurity, your issue, your flaw. And people communicate my senses. And from my own experience too, is I give you feedback in a way that I think I would want to hear it. Mm-hmm. So if I can't handle direct feedback, it's hard for me to give you direct feedback.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good. That's like a mic drop. Those are some real like words of wisdom right there. And you know, I could go down this feedback rabbit hole, but I think that we have to get out of our own perspective and our own kind of like the way that we see things and kind of try to take a step back. And I think throughout life and our experiences, they play a huge factor into our framework. You have worn many hats, from leader, creative, dad, husband, all of the things.
Follower, yeah.
Journalism.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Employee, insubordinate, you know.
Which has taught you the most about yourself?
I think the biggest thing that I learned, and this is maybe not an answer that you expected, is when I didn't have any control over a circumstance. And I'll give you a specific example. When my son Rock was in the hospital, I was his father. I was, you know, fathers are the leaders, I guess, or, you know, however you want to like draw correlations to professionalism, but there wasn't much I could do, right? Other than wait, listen to the medical beeps, right? There wasn't anything I could do to like affect change. And so being hopeless, so to speak, and not having any control over the situation taught me a lot about trust. It taught me a lot about patience, but it taught me mostly that I'm less in control of outcomes than I think I am. And it really, in those moments and to this day, I try to remember that, and it really humbles me that I'm a go-getter and I'm trying to affect change. I'm trying to build a successful business, but I'm less in control of outcomes and circumstances than I think I am, and I have to remember that.
Can't imagine someone that moment thinking that it's not in your, but you have to really lean into faith and take your hand off the wheel, right? There's no wheel that you can.
Yeah.
How has that shown up for you when it comes to work?
So it's an ongoing sort of balance. There's a lot that I can't affect. There's a lot of inertia and positive momentum and energy that I can bring every day to every interaction. And those who know me and you know me, like I try to bring my best energy to every interaction, not just every stage, but every interaction, whether it be in this podcast studio or a grocery store teller or a stage, right? I try to bring my best self to every interaction. And so, I try to affect change in a lot of ways, I think subconsciously, in bringing that level of energy and connection to whoever I'm interacting with. And, with that skill set and with that mindset, I'm that person at the same time, but at the same time, I've also had to recognize and respect the fact that even though I sort of can bring a lot of energy or ideas to the table, that the things will be what they're going to be. And my role is to just be my best me, right? And my best me is typically full of energy and ideas and positivity and support. And that's all I can do. And if it doesn't go my way and things don't turn out the way that they were, I did my part the best I could. And it's reflective on my experience with my son at the time too. All I could do, I gotta be careful not to lose emotion here, but all I can do at that time was, support my family at the time, support my other kids, and I could just keep showing up, at the hospital for hours, right? Like, and that's all I could do in that moment, right? And talk to the doctors and try to say, like, what's next, doc? And you try to make yourself helpful, but you quickly realize this circumstance is out of your hands. And again, it really humbles you. And I think being humbled in life is always some of the best things in life, to be humbled in life. And even as I reach some success as an entrepreneur early, I know the highs are going to come and the lows are going to come, but like just keeping that steady sort of humble pie as a daily dessert, if you will, a daily bite of humble pie every day, just knowing like highs are going to come and lows are going to come, but all you can do is what you can do, right? And what I can do is a certain amount of things that I've been gifted with that I'm expected to, in my mind, from the man above, to bring those to the table every day. So that's what I try to do.
I mean, you do it, right? You do it. And I feel like I've had, not that I'm always lurking in the background, but seeing over the years, career and family, you've been so authentic, vulnerable, and really transparent with colleagues, friends, and your network about so much. And so I feel like a lot of us have been able to see in real time some of the experiences that you're going through, and you bring people along to understand that they're not alone. And it might not be the same situation, but like you said, we all at some point or another face something where it's out of our control.
Yeah. I think I do that, as you were saying that, I was thinking about some of the things that you're describing. I think I bring people along because in some ways, like, I think I don't want to be alone either. Right. And so I think the best community builders are the ones that love community themselves. Yeah. Right. So when I think about going through hardship or challenge, some of the hardest ways to deal with that is alone. Mm-hmm. Right. And I've been fortunate in my life to have a great family, and both, my little family and my extended family, of course, my friends, inner circle. A lot of people these days, it's interesting, worth noting, a lot of people today, I find like young men actually check on me, right? They send me, they send me messages and just say, you're on my heart, or, I just thought about you and I just hope you're doing okay. And I'll tell you, I've had to send that message to a few of my people in the inner circle to say, like, am I giving not okay vibes out? Like, do I appear not okay? I think I'm okay. I mean, ups and downs, good and bad days, right? Yeah. But I was like, where? And I've gotten 2 or 3 of them over the last 6 months out of the blue. And sure, I've taken them and I've appreciated them that they cared enough, but they don't, we're not friends, these messages I'm getting from. They're really colleagues or acquaintances, and they're just like, dude, just checking on you, making sure you're okay. And so I myself have had to vet the fact, with my inner circle, to say, like, am I giving not okay vibes out, right? And they're like, no, I don't think it's that you're giving not okay vibes out. I think yeah, and this is the feedback that I got recently from a good friend is you're doing so much, right? And especially in multifamily, you seem to be everywhere. You seem to be doing so much, probably more than your average associate's doing. And so they probably think, man, he's doing so much. That's got to be hard, right? And so who's checking in on that guy? And I think we talked about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
So super sweet of them to check in. Obviously, I reply back, I think I'm good, man. But I appreciate you thinking about me and checking in on me. But yeah, so interesting though.
I also think that people do that because there is a sense, it's like, like your favorite influencer that you
Sure.
follow. I don't know you, but I feel like I know you. They don't know me, but it's like, and I feel like people feel like that with you because of your transparency, of your honesty, of the authentic, points of view and perspective that you take and share.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, they probably feel more connected to me than they do others because I do try to not sugarcoat it. And I try to
doing that.
I try to be authentic with it. And yeah, that's been something new for me to learn over the last couple of years is, how much people feel like they know me and that we're closer than maybe I perceived that we were. But in their mind, it was like, you don't know this, Tony, but we're best friends. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Nice to meet you, best friend. But, yeah, but it's at the same time, it's the game that I signed up for, right? So if I'm going to write the copy that I write and the stories that I write and post the things that I post, the general public is, and if I'm doing a good job at that, they're going to feel drawn to my stories. And hopefully, the idea for it is not for them to be drawn to me per se, but it's really for all of us to reflect on my experience. And hopefully you could relate to that experience a little bit.
Absolutely.
And I've also come to realize as a content creator, they care less about, me than I think they do. And ultimately people just, they're in their own head, they're in their own life. And that's also inspired me as a content creator to be less about myself and like in my own head about like, should I post this? Should I not? It doesn't really matter that much. Like if you're trying to help someone in their own head be a better version of themselves, like if you think about it, like we're in our own head all the time. You're hungry. I have to go to the grocery store. What kid do I have to pick up? What proposal do I have to get out the door by 4 o'clock? Right. Like all the things, my tummy hurts, right? Like, I mean, like we are literally thinking about ourselves a lot of the day.
My head is it's like the Energizer button. It is like, it's like a bolt of lightning, a million different directions at once. Right. So you got to be really solid with the voice and what's going on in here.
But like, for example, like how often are you thinking about your favorite content creators? Like occasionally, right?
When I see them.
Sure. But when you don't, they're out of sight, out of mind, right? You're thinking about your lightning bolt of ideas, right?
That's true.
Or all the things you got going on. And so I've just come to realize that, especially like in this content community or this influencer game, if you will, people are in their own head. So help them be in their own head better, right? Like to have better positive thoughts about their situation or themselves.
I think that a lot, like you said, one, you've done such a great job throughout your experience. You're a storyteller, one. You are a leader. So I think all of those, and being a father and a husband, all of those factor in. But so many people have the like trend right now is like, oh, it's so cringe. Or like, that's the ick. And I feel like that if you say to yourself or to anyone is trying something that it is cringe.
Yeah.
I really have to like pause, stop. Is it cringe or is it just the discomfort of something that?
Yeah. I think when you haven't done something innovative or out of the box or with vulnerability, it's easy to say other things are cringe, right? And listen, I think things are cringe all the time. But at the same time, I don't dwell on the cringe feeling. I may think aesthetically or you package that really poorly. Like, there's a lot of things that I think when I see stuff, but I don't tell people usually, unless they're a friend, I'll give them some feedback. But ultimately, like if it's something new and innovative or something they're trying, sure, I may not think like you nailed that.
I like what you're saying.
I give you a ton of credit.
Yeah. I feel like, okay, I need to correct what I said. I don't ever like when people say the effort is cringe. but maybe the product is. Maybe the
most products often can be.
The first iteration is
right.
of anything I've done is not always the very best, and it gets better with time, right? But the effort of trying something new, because we're always in our head, like you said, you gotta like hype yourself up.
Yeah, or you need hype people.
Or yes, like constantly of like, hey, you tried something new. Does this cake look the best? No. Will it get better? And did I try a new recipe? Yes.
Yeah.
Are we going to do it again? Yes. Will it be better the next time?
Absolutely,
yes.
Yeah.
And you have to
100
keep
cakes
going.
in, 100 cakes in, you're crushing a game, right? But your first cake, like, whoa, like, this is your first cake? But it's my first cake.
And if you're lucky, maybe it's like not bad, but it's still not going to be as good as it will be. And if you stop after the first, you will never realize your full, not just potential, but like giving the gift that you have inside of you, bringing it to a material plane.
I do it in a lot of ways. Like content, I see people, especially like people that don't post stuff, that I could tell, like, I can just tell that was scary for you to hit that post button. I'm the first one in there.
You're talking to me.
I'm talking to a lot of people, girl. I'm the first one to go in there to either like it, heart it, or send a comment like, thanks for, and I'll even say like, I commend your courage for posting this, because I know this wasn't easy for you. And the only reason I know that is because, I've been doing this a long time, and it wasn't always easy for me either. And so I give them a lot of credit for doing those types of things too. But I think it comes down to like, if you haven't taken much risk in your life and you haven't put yourself out there much, it's hard to relate to someone else who's trying that. And it's a lot easier to sit back and be the peanut gallery, right? And say that's cringe. Yeah. And, that sucks, or that's stupid, or you're, whatever sort of childish or immature response. It's a lot easier to do that. It's a lot harder to give credit for someone trying something, even when they're failing.
Yes. And I feel like half the time I'm like, it's not a failure. Like, you don't watch a child learning how to walk and say, oh, they fell down and they failed.
Oh, bro, keep walking.
Yeah. With, the cringe factor and authentic and all of these things, being authentic, a lot of trends are important to join and to be part of. And I think with industries constantly shifting, with staying authentic to who you are, how do you also incorporate understanding trends? And as someone who understands the importance of a brand and helping others with their brand, how do you stay trendy but authentic and not go into the cringe of like trying to do every TikTok dance and anything out there?
Yeah, I'll use one example of fashion, right? So the oversized pant look today, right? I've tried it. I continue to try it. It's trendy, right? Like that's kind of a fashion trend. It's cool.
I like how you say you continue to try it. You have pictures?
I do. Like, but I'll tell you, like, as a 40-year-old man, is just gonna knock over the light. Oh, nice moves. As a 40-year-old man wearing like oversized trousers, it appears like frumpy dad to me. And so I'm like, I don't know if it's my thing. And so the point that I'm making is, listen, like, there's a ton of trends happening all the time. And I think you have to identify what you like and what you don't like. And some people, listen, I have some friends that are just not into trends. Like, they don't even watch pop culture. They don't have TV. They don't know anything. And they just love their jazz, and they just, they're into their thing, right? Now, when they try to produce like pop culture items, merch, or some of this other stuff, and it doesn't seem to resonate with a pop culture audience, that's when I'm gonna say, listen, like, you're not a pop culture cat, right? Like, this is not your audience. Pop culture is not your audience, and that's okay, right? So I think it's a combination of, at the end of the day, whether it be a corporate brand or personal brand, you have to know you, right? So once you know you, then the trends you can kind of lean into, have some fun with, and trends, in my opinion, all what trends do is show relevance, right? Like, show that you're listening to the culture, that I get you, right? And when the culture and when an audience or a community believes that you get them or understand them, right? Like, they listen, right? Just like, again, I was gonna say like kids, and you're like, I don't know, Tony, I have fur babies, but like, even my children, right? I have a 16-year-old, and like, when I talk less and listen more, and also just show him like I understand him, he's more inclined to listen to what I have to say, versus me trying to dictate it all the time. And so it's the same for audiences. When they understand you're relevant and you're listening and you're also like giving them information that's relevant to their life, they're more inclined to listen and more inclined to engage. A lot of people talking at people, right, on social. Like, you should be doing this, and here's my advice. Like, ain't nobody asked for your advice, bro. So, like, low key. So, until you have an audience or you've earned their listenership, if you will, or their engagement, please don't give anyone advice, right? Because you don't even have an audience, and you don't even know who you're talking to, and they ain't listening.
I'm gonna quote as well.
I mean, I don't know. Just trying to keep it 100.
Yeah. Yeah. So you obviously understand your audience. You understand your network and your market. You've grown this business.
Yeah.
I want to know all about this. I personally know that in our industry, or in multifamily and property management, it can be an industry where you kind of grow up in it.
Yeah.
You grow up in it, so you see a lot of things. You notice a lot of opportunities. You make friends with a lot of people who probably cross paths with again and again. Yeah. How did you decide to take that leap from like this industry where like there's so many opportunities that are probably, once you kind of make it to a place where your name is known, other people are like, hey, come join us, or come bring what you do here. How did you decide to step out on your own?
Yeah. It's, I don't know, like, there's something about a gut feeling that sometimes is your calling, right? And it's probably a better way to say it is that sometimes when you feel called, you have to go, right? And when you also have kind of taken a step back and taken a look at the trees versus, or look at the forest versus just being right next to the tree, right? And it's take a step back and have that momentary opportunity to kind of step back and look and say, I think I can do a lot of this stuff at a higher level, or I could do it better. You have to really strongly, and then you have the network, maybe you have the means, maybe you have the contacts, maybe you have the connections, maybe, and hopefully you have a business model that also provides value to a client. Then I think you need to strongly consider doing it. And if it feels like a calling and it feels strong, then oftentimes a calling doesn't go away, and it just kind of just bites at you for a long time. And for me, like, to be honest, this was probably a voice for a couple of years in my heart and mind. I just didn't know what that looked like. I've never built a business before. I've always been a corporate W-2 employee. Every 2 weeks, magically get money in my account, right? And so now, now you got to go hunt to eat, right? Yeah. And I enjoy the hunting. I enjoy, and what I mean by that is obviously, building relationships and sourcing new clients, and also taking care of my current clients, of course. But I just felt I had a lot to offer clients in the marketplace in a way that I don't think was being tapped at that time. And I think for me, it became very clear. The timing seemed to the outside world very poor, right? I just had a baby, as some know, special needs. So, I mean, there's medical things involved. Right now, I pay for my own insurance, and I'll tell you, paying for your own insurance is not ideal. So, so I understand the W-2 and the corporate, the insurance piece, right? Like all those things, those are nice things. But if you're called to do something a little bit bigger and you feel confident and capable and ready, you have to think about it. And I just couldn't, I think I told you the story. I couldn't face 80-year-old Tony at that time. And I know what he would say is, you're at the pinnacle of your career. People knew who you were. They respected you. You were credible. You were great at what you did. You had great energy and excitement around what you were doing, a solid brand of reputation, and you never gave it a try. I just didn't want to face that 80-year-old man to say I never gave it a try. And there's some things in my life that I didn't give it a try, and I just didn't want to face that person later. And so I wanted to give it a try, and that's what I'm doing. And it's become successful early. No one knows the future, right? But there's a lot of momentum, a lot of confidence that I'm growing. I'm hopeful that it'll continue to be successful, and what iteration and what it becomes, in the next couple of years. The best advice I've gotten from entrepreneurs is just be prepared to adapt to the marketplace, and also be prepared to adapt your skill set and what you're good at and what provides the most value. And if you're able to provide the most value, it's oftentimes correlated with the most monetary compensation.
So I love that you said you had that conversation with your 80-year-old self, and you kind of flashed forward. And I think that in making a big decision, or moving through anything in life, I think it's always important to go forward and back and then back to present. And so going forward, you kind of did. You were like, hey, we got all these things. I need to say to myself when I'm 80 that I gave this a shot. And I really applied all the gifts I was given. Going back, if we went back, let's go back 20 years.
I was a baby.
What would you tell yourself, knowing what you know now?
I would tell myself a couple of things. Is be proud of who you are. Be proud of the unique skill sets and talents that you've been blessed with. Don't hide them. Don't hide your shine. Don't hide your talents. Don't try to be like anyone else, because you won't do a very good job of it, because it's not who you are. And I would just continue to try to bolster my own self-confidence as a young man to just be who I am, even if people thought it was weird, or even if people think it's different. And now, and at times they very much did, and I can name them by name, who made me feel very in this business. I mean, I can name them by name, I won't, but who made me who made me feel very different in not a good way.
Oh, really?
And and now what I do take great pride in is those unique differences are the fuel to my success today, and really my key differentiator. But then I felt as though I was different and maybe an oddity in the business. And at the time I was an operator, and they, you should be a marketer. And then when I was a marketer, they're like, don't you miss operations, right? And I just remember thinking, like, how about I just be good at everything I could be good at? And maybe I'm good at branding and storytelling, and I'm good at operation. Like, can that not be a thing? And I've come to realize now, consulting both for operations and brand, it can be a thing, and you can actually monetize it pretty well. Hey.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I didn't know that then, right? I just, unfortunately, I listened to others too much. Now, I mean, I got my circle that I listen to and get feedback from, but the greater public has a very minimal, and I don't mean that rudely to them, right? But they have a very minimal say in what I'm doing.
I don't think that could, maybe somebody might interpret that as a rude thing to say, but that is the greatest advice to give anyone, I think, because if you have a strong support system, it is such a blessing.
Yep.
It is huge. It for me is worth more than gold.
Yeah, I mean, now multifamily rooms, other rooms, I walk in truly not caring what people think of me. Not of my character, but just as my book cover, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I walk in being me. And to be honest, Rock, my little guy, I want to teach him, because, with special needs, like people will try to probably put him in a box, right? Of like, oh, you're just a child with this, or you're just a kid with this, or you're just an adult with this. And I want to teach him, you walk in the room, you own the room, chest, shoulders back, chest out, right? And if you want to wear sunglasses in a dark room, wear sunglasses in a dark room, because that's what you want to do, right? Like, be you, boo, do you, boo. So I'm going to really teach him that, because, those are some of the lessons that I had to learn the hard way, that I don't think I just had the self-confidence early to be able to do that. I think there was a perception I had all this confidence, but the reality was I was really trying to search myself. Now is different. It probably comes with age and having a lot of kids and life experience as well. But I really, the truth is, I really don't care what people think of me, respectfully. I don't care. I like your shoes. Great, thanks. I don't like your shoes. Thanks. Thanks for letting me know. I like them. That's why I bought them, and that's why I'm wearing them. So, compliments, sure, like, thank you, but I'm not wearing them for you either.
Not performing for others is something that I think we talked about this.
Yeah.
The people pleasing personalities of customer experiences and customer service.
Yeah.
It is hard to learn that you should always be pleasing everyone, and also keep that balance of, like, I have to put myself in the forefront, my own opinion first, my own thoughts first, my own needs and wants have to be in balance with the pressure or maybe expectations of everything else going on around. And I will say that Rock is already his presence is already strong. Every picture you post, everything I'm seeing, I'm like, that smile, that presence.
Yeah, I mean, God's blessed him in so many ways, and he's blessed us in so many ways, in ways that we didn't know. And, that's a whole nother story in and of itself. When you learn of a diagnosis that you've never had that experience, it's not, I think now, sure, he's out of the hospital and he smiles in every photo, right? Like, I understand like a perception from the outside in, but when you get that call, when you sit down and you're told your child's going to have a special need, you're not having a party that day, right? Like you're not like, this is great news. This is sobering news, and also I'm a little fearful, because you've never gone through that life experience, and you also know it's not. My kids asked, will he outgrow this, right? When they first learned of it, and so as an adult, like this isn't something they outgrow. This is something that they will have for their life, and a lot of it is sometimes mental and physical ailments, or just DNA that just isn't, but as you can see, like his spirit is undeniable.
Yes.
Right. And he, even for me, who's an optimistic guy, I have my down days like everybody else, but man, it's, when a little guy who, has one more chromo than he should, per se, smiling all the time. Yeah. I'm like, what is my problem? Yeah. Why am I not smiling? Right. So I need to get it together, and I need to be positive, and I need to smile. I probably need to smile more. So like there's a weird inspiration like that brings you, that a 1-year-old can inspire a 40-year-old,
What 3 words would you use to describe yourself right now?
Ooh, I don't want to use the word authentic because it's overused, but I would just say like true. Instead of old, I'll say mature. And so true, mature, and loved. Oh, I have a lot of people in my life that love me.
In 10 years, what 3 words?
What did I just say? True, mature, and loved. To be honest, I hope in 10 years those same words are true. I'll be much older, much more mature, hopefully.
Well, I hope to have you on in 10 years again.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. A lot more gray hair and wrinkles on me, but you seem to age, or you seem not to age, frankly, girl. But you heard that here first.
Yeah, you heard that first.
I don't age.
I got that recorded. I'm gonna have to use that. Thank you.
Yeah, you look great, and you don't age. But yeah, hopefully those terms are still relevant for me. True, mature, and loved in 10 years.
Yeah. So the concept of Gather Glow is all about letting your light shine and others' lights shining as well. Mm-hmm. As an entrepreneur, you're connecting with others, but a lot of this is on you. It's you working with you. Yeah. You are marketing and compliance and all the things. How do you continue to fuel that light, to make sure that you show up shining every day, knowing that there may be a lot on your shoulders?
Yeah. I think the best way to do that is not to really reflect on it in that way, right? So for me, every day I get up and I get excited about producing value from a work standpoint for my clients, right? So what projects am I expected to deliver? What can I do for the marketplace, for my community, for my clients, and how can I provide value today for this group of people, right? Whether it be my community, my clients, my family, right? So for me, I find that I think if you focus, and I learned this as a young father, if you focus on the burden in front of you, or the weight of on your shoulders, too often and too frequently, and focus on that weight, it becomes really heavy, and frankly, it causes probably anxiety and a lot of other things. And so, some in my life would say, well, it's important to focus on these things, but I found that some of those things, sometimes focusing on those things for too long, can provide a lot of angst and a lot of anxiety around those things. So for me, like, instead of thinking about, oh wow, I got to support a whole family and insurance and all these kids, and you know, I got to take care of all these clients. You know, it to me that's a reverse sort of perspective versus I get to wake up every morning and I'm excited to give value to my clients, to my family, to my community. And I'm excited to do that, and I try to do that every day. And you know, it's been working for me, obviously as an entrepreneur, but I've really tried to do that most of my career. Is just to wake up and give value every day. You know, I can't give value 2 days from now, but I can give value today, right? And I can't give any more value today to yesterday because yesterday already happened, right? And so, but what I could do is give value, you know, today and in this moment and be present. So. Mm-hmm.
Well, Tony, I mean, that's so beautifully said. And I have to just say thank you for being on today, for sharing your light and your story and your wisdom and your fashion sense, if anyone can see. Because I love it.
Thanks.
I'm looking at these bracelets. I'm like, they're fantastic. We got to get a close up. And for everyone listening, thank you. Remember that glowing isn't about being, but like you said, Tony, it's about presence and really owning who you are, knowing who you are, and letting that light. So thank you all for gathering with us tonight, and I hope you tune in soon.